Mr. Young had several idiosyncrasies. However, many were the jokes we would have at his expense. He had an elder brother, a bachelor and a missionary with a vulnerable beard who was exceedingly fond of children and would love to play with them. To distinguish our headmaster from his elder brother, we nicknamed him Young Young, the latter being called Old Young. Mr. Young was very sensitive to cold, and even on a warm day he would shut the windows lest the draught should come in. He would frequently warn us about the risk of catching cold and getting cholera therefrom. If he ever felt out of sorts, he would take such a stiff dose of quinine as would make him almost deaf. After he had lived 20 years in the country, he could speak hardly a word in the local dialect and never cared to go in for sightseeing or touring. If the caretaker forgot to put something on his table, Mr. Young would ring for him, point to the thing wanted, but unable to scold him in the local dialect, would content himself with glaring at him and then muttering. All this ought to have been done before. If a messenger brought in a letter and Mr. Young wanted to ask him to wait, he would run up to his wife, get the correct words from her, and go on repeating them till he was able to come out and throw them at the man. With all this, our headmaster was a man who bore himself with dignity and poise and commanded our respect. Though it was tinged with fear, our headmistress was a motherly lady who was universally liked, and I must say that there was never any attempt to influence unduly our social and religious ideas. Things went on smoothly for some years, and we seemed to have fitted in our milieu splendidly, but gradually there appeared a rift within the liud. Something happened which tended to differentiate us from our environment. Was it the effect of local causes, or was it the echo of larger political disturbances? That is a poser I shall not answer for the present. To some extent, this differentiation was inevitable, but what was not inevitable was the conflict that arose out of it. We had been living in two distinct worlds. As our consciousness developed, we began to realize slowly that these two worlds did not always match. This was on the one hand the influence of family and society, which was India. There was another world, another atmosphere, where we spent most of our working days, which was not England, of course, but a near approach to it. We were told that because we were Indians, we could not sit for scholarship examinations like primary schools and middle examination schools. Though in our annual examination many of us were topping the class, Anglo-Indian boys could join the volunteer corps and shoulder a rifle, but we could not. A small incident like this began to open our eyes to the fact that as Indians we were a class apart. Though we belonged to the same institution, then there would be occasional quarrels between the English and Indian boys, which would finish up with a boxing bout in which sympathies would be mobilized along racial lines. The son of a very high Indian official who was a fellow student would organize matches between Indian and Europeans at his place, and those of us who could play well would join either side. I can also remember that we Indian boys talking among ourselves would sometimes say that we were fed up with the Bible and that for nothing in the world would we ever change our religion.